John Airy here with AintItCool.com, talking today about my favorite action hero of all time. A guy who bridges the gap between West and East. A guy who is the forefather of mixed martial arts. Someone, to me, who embodies everything that we want from our movie stars. I'm talking, of course, about Bruce Lee. And Shout Factory, they just put out this new box set featuring 4 of his films on Blu-ray and DVD, a bunch of interviews, blah, blah, blah. A lot of stuff here, a lot of Bruce Lee content. If you want to know more about this, you can watch the video right here. But I'm not talking about this right now. Instead, I'm talking about some of the stuff that I learned from this. I thought I knew everything about Bruce Lee, but apparently not. Going through some of these interviews and some of this archival footage, I compiled my top 10 list of new fun facts that I recently learned about Bruce Lee. Number 1, Bruce Lee's parents were extremely superstitious. They gave him a feminine nickname, Little Phoenix, made him sleep in a nightgown, and enrolled him in a girls' school. You see, the firstborn child of the Lees did not survive infancy, so it was their belief that the gods did not want them to have a male child and might attempt to take their young Bruce away.
I was feeling really sorry for this young movie star Bruce Lee, and dressing up like a little girl and going to girls' school and have to wear a skirt to go to bed.
Thus, they attempted to camouflage him as a girl to hide him from the spirits. Number 2, if you wanted a private 1-hour martial arts lesson from Bruce Lee in the mid to late 60s, it would cost you $275.
Oh, damn it, that's it. That's it, though.
Some of his most famous students included James Coburn, Steve McQueen, Roman Polanski, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and James Garner. McQueen and Coburn would later be pallbearers at Lee's burial. Number 3. When Lee sought out his first film contract in Hong Kong, he decided to take a big risk. He could have signed up with the largest Hong Kong movie company at that time, but instead decided to take a chance on a smaller upstart. The Shaw Brothers offered Bruce Lee a 7-year contract at $2,000 per movie. He decided to sign a 2-picture deal with Raymond Chow and Golden Harvest instead for $15 grand per movie. After he made The Big Boss and Fists of Fury, he renegotiated with Chow for full creative control, while Chow would handle the business side of his films. This leads to the next fact. Number 4. Lee didn't like working with director Lo Wei. Wei directed Bruce in his first 2 films for Golden Harvest. Lee wanted the fight choreography to be more realistic and raw, while Wei wanted to work in more bits of cartoonish humor and stylized violence. A great example is the outline left by a man that Bruce punches through this wall in The Big Boss. Number 5. Bruce Lee shot The Way of the Dragon and Game of Death without a script. All the shooting on these films was done without any sound, with the dialogue to be added in later. He would storyboard out his films and plan the shots ahead of time, but according to his friend and co-star Bob Wall, Lee liked to direct his films on the fly.
I challenge anybody to show me a script from Way of the Dragon, because there wasn't any. There was no script. The script was in Bruce's head. Same thing with Game of Death. At that point, there was no script.
Number 6. That scene where Chuck Norris gets off the plane in The Way of the Dragon is actually Chuck Norris getting off his plane. Lee only had $250,000 to make The Way of the Dragon, so he had to get creative, which meant he employed a little cinema verite. When Norris's plane touched down from America, Bruce had a camera set up ready to go as Chuck made his grand entry into Rome. Number 7. US marketing for The Way of the Dragon made it seem like the same character from Enter the Dragon. Even though Way was produced before Enter the Dragon, American audiences saw the films out of order. This trailer for the film tries to make the movie look like a direct sequel to Enter, even though they are completely unrelated.
Yes, Bruce Lee is back, blazing his way from Hong Kong to hell in the all-new fantastic adventures of the superhero he created in Enter the Dragon.
Number 8. The guy with the sticks in Game of Death was the person who introduced Bruce Lee to weapons, most notably nunchucks. Dan Inosanto was actually a student of Lee's Jeet Kune Do system, but Lee would seek out knowledge wherever he could find it. In an effort to learn as many martial arts techniques as possible, Inosanto showed Lee various styles of weapon fighting, including the Filipino version of the nunchucks.
Definitely, I shared a lot of things with him. I shared double stick fighting with him, single stick fighting, stick and dagger fighting. And I shared it with them at that time. They call it nunchakas in the martial art world. We call it tabak tuyok. That's the name they use in the Philippines, tabak tuyok. At least my instructors use that. And I taught the weaponry to her.
Number 9. According to Lee's friend and training buddy Robert Wall, director Robert Clouse spread a nasty rumor about the two on the set. The director of Enter the Dragon and Game of Death apparently said that Lee threatened to kill Wall after a botched stunt that resulted in stitches on Lee's hand. When Lee and Wall found out who was spreading the rumor, they visited Clouse together.
We opened the door, and as soon as Clouse opened the door, I slapped him right on top of his head. And it was not a kindly slap. He fell on the ground. I stood in his hand. I said, "You are spreading a rumor that Bruce is going to kill me." "Bruce, are you going to kill me?" "No way, you SOB, and it stops now." I said, "If the rumor continues, I'm going to put you in the hospital, and you will not be directing anything, not even traffic."
Number 10. Former James Bond George Lazenby was going to appear in Game of Death. Lee was set to have a meeting with him on the day of his death in 1973. Before meeting with Lazenby, producer Raymond Chow and Lee were visiting actress Betty Ting Pei. Bruce complained of a headache. She gave him a prescription painkiller. He took it and laid down on her bed while Chow left to go meet with Lazenby at his hotel. When Lee never showed up for his meeting with Lazenby, Chow got worried and called Betty. Betty tried to wake Lee but couldn't, called an ambulance, but by the time Bruce had reached the hospital, he had died from a cerebral edema, or water on the brain.
Will you tell me what teacher died of?
Forensic scientists from around the world came up with the conclusion that he had had a hypersensitive reaction to this medication that he had been given for a headache, and that had caused the fluid on his brain, and that he had succumbed to that. Still something that people cannot believe.
Those are just a few of the fun things that I recently learned about Bruce Lee. I'd love to hear some of your favorite fun facts. You can leave those in the comment section below or hit me up on Twitter, and keep checking in with AintItCool.com for more news and reviews. I'm John Airy.